What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today we're going to be talking about the flinch mechanic in Black Ops 4 and my experience with it, as well as I'm going to be breaking down some frame-by-frame gameplay to show you what the flinch is actually like. This is a topic I meant to cover a little while back, but it kind of got put on the back burner and I kind of forgot about it for a while, but I saw a recent post on Reddit talking about flinch, and that reminded me that I wanted to make this video, so we're going to be talking about it today. Once again, as always with these gameplays, big thank you to Activision for flying me out to both the reveal event as well as E3 to capture early gameplay. The gameplay I'm going to be breaking down for the flinch is going to be from the E3 build, which is the most recent build that we've seen with this game. So first up, flinch, for those of you guys that don't know, flinch is that mechanic when an enemy shoots you, it causes your aim to kick upwards. Your entire screen will kick upwards slightly for every shot that hits you. And this is designed to simulate being hit. Of course, you're going to be flinching when you get shot by something, and it's going to force you off target. It's going to cause you to move in some way. And one of the ideas behind this is it's supposed to give the advantage for the person that hits the first shot. If you hit your first shot just before an enemy fires his shot, there's a chance you're going to be flinching him off target, so his first shot misses, and you get the advantage for hitting that first shot. In theory, this sounds just fine. This sounds like it makes sense in a first-person shooter. When you shoot somebody, yeah, it should have some sort of effect on their aim. It should cause them to flinch in some way. But in reality, there's been a lot of complaints about flinch over the years, and this is for several reasons. First up, the feeling of randomness. Flinch is never really entirely consistent. It depends on the damage of the gun that you're using. It depends on the angle that you're being shot from. And therefore, it can lead to a lot of really inconsistent feelings in gunfights, where you feel like sometimes you flinch more than others and it just doesn't make any sense. So that's the first element that people really don't like about flinch, is that random feeling. Next is flinching enemies into a headshot on you. So a lot of enemies, they'll aim at your stomach or your chest or something like that. If you shoot them and they flinch up to your head, suddenly they're dealing more damage to you, especially if they're using something like high caliber. And therefore that person is actually rewarded for hitting the second shot rather than hitting the first shot. Now realistically, that situation I don't feel happens too often, but it does happen every now and then, and it is frustrating when it happens. I think the biggest and most valid complaint against flinch is the fact that it kind of forces everybody to aim for center mass. It forces everybody to aim a bit low. It doesn't reward aiming for the head in a gunfight, because if you actually try to aim at the head, like where you're trying to hit your first bullet on the enemy's head in a gunfight, more often than not, you're going to get flinched way up above their body, and you're definitely going to be missing all your shots. This is why most of the time when you're actually going for headshot challenges in Call of Duty in the past, what you do is you aim like upper chest to neck area and expect that flinch might take you up into the enemy's head. So in my opinion, the skill gap is reduced a bit with flinch because you can't actively aim for the head like many other first-person shooters on the market, where aiming for the smaller target, which is the head, will be rewarded. So for years, this has been a major complaint in Call of Duty, but we've got some big changes in Black Ops 4. I broke a bunch of situations down frame by frame from the E3 gameplay, and as you can see, when you're aiming down sight at least, you really don't flinch at all. You get the little bit of a red screen, you get the indicator, but the aim itself doesn't seem to move upwards at all when you're shot. Even in this situation where there's an enemy at a longer range and you can only see a very small amount of them, there was no noticeable flinch whatsoever in this gunfight. So when you're aiming down sight in Black Ops 4, it appears that flinch has essentially been eliminated. However, I will say when hip firing, if you're not aiming down sight and you get shot, you definitely do flinch in this game. You can see that in this situation right here. You definitely kick upwards if you're not aiming down sight. So in my opinion, this is an excellent change to Call of Duty that's been a very long time coming. They've consistently over the years been reducing flinch. It's lower and lower and lower every year it seems. Aside from World War II. World War II is a different story when it comes to flinch, especially at launch. But now they've finally made that jump where it appears that at least when you're aiming down sight, flinch is essentially non-existent. What this means is it looks like you'll actually be rewarded for shooting enemies in the head and actively aiming directly at the enemy's head. You no longer have to aim at their chest and hope that flinch will take you up to the head. You can just aim straight on, and I think that's great. Another implication I feel this is going to have in game once we actually get our hands on it and we're playing in an online environment, I think it's actually going to lead to fewer quote-unquote connection complaints. I see a lot of the times where people feel like they should be hitting shots, and when you really slow it down, you break it down frame by frame, you'll see that the reason they're not getting hits is they're actually getting flinched just barely off target, even though they don't necessarily see that in real time, or they're not quite picking up on the fact that they were just barely off target due to flinch. This also has an impact on the experience time to kill. Even though Black Ops 4 has increased the time to kill slightly, so it does take a little bit longer statistically to kill an enemy, The fact that we aren't going to be missing shots due to flinch will, in my opinion, bring the experience time to kill pretty much right in line with where we've seen with previous Call of Duty games. And I think that's a really good thing. Now, although generally I am very happy with this change, I do have one major concern with this, and this is how it's going to be handled with sniper rifles. In my opinion, at least with Call of Duty, flinch is a good mechanic against sniper rifles. Since they're a one-shot kill, once you're in their line of sight and they're aiming down sight, the only real way to try and counter them is to put shots into them and try and flinch them off target. At least that's how it's always been in Call of Duty, and that's one of the things that keeps it somewhat balanced, although I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would argue that it's not balanced. I feel it's balanced when an enemy is hard scoping, they're just locking down a lane with their sniper rifle. The only real way to challenge them if you want to try and take that lane and you don't have a sniper rifle yourself is you try and hit your first couple of shots on him before he can pull the trigger, which will hopefully kick him off target so he misses his shot and you can get your kill. If he doesn't react in time, if he doesn't get his shot off in time, then he's punished for that. But if he does get his shot off in time, he's really rewarded heavily because he gets a one-shot kill. So that's just my opinion. I think sniper rifles should still be flinched at least a little bit when they're shot. So it'll lead to fewer of those situations where you're just lighting up a sniper, you think you definitely got this kill, you're already thinking about your next kill because you put so many shots into him, there's no way you can lose, but then he just instantly drops you because he wasn't flinched off target. He was just able to basically point and shoot and get the kill on you. Of course, though, I do want to leave this to you guys. I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section below about them essentially removing flinch while aiming down sight. Do you like the idea of having that removed flinch? And also, how do you feel about sniper rifles and whether or not you should get flinch when using a sniper rifle in this game? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah.